Well, hello there. Good day to you. Welcome into First Take on a Friday, people. A feel-good Friday, for that matter.
What up?
Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman.
What's going on, baby?
How
are you? Hey, you.
How we doing?
What's up?
Molly.
We good?
Let's go.
Let's get into it.
It's Friday.
Guess who's here?
It's Friday.
Actor Omar Epps.
My brother.
He's joining us next. He's a huge Cowboys fan. This is going to be fun.
I just finished watching In Too Deep for the 10th time just the other day with him and my boy LL. Because LL, I don't know LL as well as I know him, but LL grew up 5 minutes away from me on Farmers Boulevard in Queens. Hollis.
Farmers Boulevard.
Hollis. Queens, the borough.
He's got a new movie.
I'm just saying.
That comes out November 11th. We're going to talk to him all about that star-studded cast. Looking forward to it. But speaking of stars, Sunday in prime time, it's all about the rookies looking like vets. An NFC East battle when Carson Wentz and the Eagles face Dak Prescott in the Cowboys. Wentz has led his team to a 4-2 record and has the highest completion percentage against the blitz. Dak Prescott has the best total QBR at 84, while leading Dallas to a 5-1 record, according to Elias. This is the only instance, listen to this, people, since the 1970 merger where combined rookie win percentage was 750 or better entering the matchup. Only time ever. We are witnessing history, Stephen A. Who's winning it?
First of all, I didn't want to start out this show. I want to let America know that I'm very unhappy that I had to start out this show. Because obviously everybody knows how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys, and I can't wait for my man Omar to roll up here because this dude is one of the ultimate Cowboy fans. That's one of the things that makes me sick about him. Maybe the only thing that makes me sick about him, because I love the brother and I can't wait for him to come on. But I sit here today, Max Kellerman, annoyed at myself because I allowed you with your slick self to set me up. Because they said, hey, you know what, we got to start out the show. I mean, it's a big game this weekend. Who's going to win? And I scratched my head and I said, damn, I got to pick the Cowboys. I am so sick to my stomach that I have to do it, but it is necessary.
How about them Cowboys?
It is necessary. It's all right, though. They won't let me down. They'll mess up at the right time. It's just not the right time yet, and this is not going to be it. I'm looking at the Cowboys, a defense that's ranked 7th in the NFL, by the way, 16th in yards allowed, but 7th in points allowed, okay? They're 21 against the pass, which is not great, but just 10th against the rush, which is relatively decent. Here's why I'm rolling with the Cowboys. For basically 3 reasons. 1, your offensive line. 2, Ezekiel Elliott. Okay. And 3, I don't trust the Eagles' passing game at all. I think that Jordan Matthews is basically the weapon that Carson Wentz has available to him. I haven't been that impressed with Ryan Matthews, even though Doug Peterson says he's not going to bench him at all or anything like that. He hasn't been awful. He's fumbled the ball a few times, but he hasn't been awful. But I don't consider him a game changer. And I think because of the requisite weapons that the Eagles are lacking right now and the way that they have struggled offensively over the last couple of weeks, not to mention the fact that the game is in Dallas and Dallas had a bye week. I think all of that works in their favor. And so because of it, I think in Big D, in Dallas, Texas, in Arlington to be exact, in Jerry's billion-dollar playpen, I'm going to have to roll with the Cowboys. I think they're going to run the ball effectively, move the chains, but ultimately it's going to come down to Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles passing attack not being able to do but so much to beat this team. I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game.
Eagles are going to win the game. First of all, it's an NFC East divisional rivalry game. And those are always tough and close. It's not going to be a blowout either way. We know it's going to be a tough, hard-fought game, shifts of momentum down the stretch. That's the way NFC East games always seem to go. So then you bring up the fact that it's at Dallas, you know, at Cowboys and ATT, whatever they're calling it nowadays, at the new stadium.
It's Jerry's billion-dollar playpen.
Right.
Just call it his billion-dollar playpen.
That's not a home field advantage. That's a home field disadvantage. Since they opened, 29-30 below 500 at home, 33-26 above 500 on the road. Not huge swings, but certainly not advantage to play at Dallas. As a matter of fact, their only loss so far this year, week 1, to my New York Football Giants, also an NFC East divisional rivalry game at home. It's the only game they lost. 2, people bring up of course, rightly, that offensive line. Because Dallas's success and Dak Prescott's success is predicated on the offensive line blocking, especially for the run, so they have a ball control offense. And the Eagles are the 10th worst. They allow the 10th most yards per rush in the league, on the ground. They're not great. They're not going to stop the Cowboys from running. The Cowboys will control the clock. That doesn't mean they're going to win. You don't pick up larger chunks usually on the ground than you do through the air. And let me tell you what the Eagles are going to do to the Cowboys. They're going to hit Dak Prescott. The Eagles, they get to the quarterback. They allow the third fewest points in the league, the 5th fewest yards in the league. They have an elite defense. So you have 2 rookie quarterbacks.
Against the pass.
Against the pass, that's
okay.
True. Of comparable ability. One of them is facing an elite defense, and the other isn't. Carson Wentz, say whatever you want about the weapons he has available to him. And also, the Cowboys have had a decent enough defense, but it is far from elite. Carson Wentz facing an okay defense. Dak Prescott facing an elite one. No home field advantage. Carson Wentz and the Eagles win in a tough-fought NFC East divisional rivalry game.
Listen, you got a guy in Tyrone Smith, okay? This is a dude that's got like a 98.7 pass blocking efficiency. He does an exceptional job of protecting Dak Prescott. He did an exceptional job last year. He had a bad game against the Eagles last year where he surrendered 2 sacks. I don't see that happening again this time around. You've got Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham that's going to come at Dak Prescott all day long. But if you're Smith and you sit up there and you neutralize Connor Barwin, then you can leave the rest of the guys on the Dallas offensive line to sit up there and protect Dak Prescott against Cox and Graham. If you do that effectively, now we're not even taking the Dak Prescott situation into consideration. I got to look at it from that perspective. I got to assume that the Philadelphia Eagles, who rank 14th against the run, which is why I said they're not great defensively, they're great against the pass. You have to remember one of the reasons why they're great in the pass. They've been able to relatively effectively neutralize a lot of teams' passing games because teams haven't been able to run on them, and you're able to crowd folks into the secondary. They struggled against the Redskins. Why did that happen? Because Matt Jones was doing his thing, and the Redskins collectively rushed for 230 yards. That was a big loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost by 1 point to Detroit. They got smacked around a little bit against the Redskins. That was the reason why. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, what you do is you emulate that formula. What you do is say, excuse me, Matt Jones ain't no damn Ezekiel Elliott. He damn sure ain't the combination of Ezekiel Elliott and Alfred Morris. He damn sure ain't the combination of those 2 individuals with this offensive line, because the Redskins' offensive line, albeit having played better this year, is certainly not Dallas's offensive line. And so if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you've got to crowd the line of scrimmage to try to neutralize them. You're going to try to force Dak Prescott to beat you, but then all of a sudden I'm hearing Des Bryant is coming back this weekend. Okay, and oh, by the way, I'm assuming that Cole Beasley and Jason Witten were utilized in terms of Dak Prescott thrown in the middle of the season, but he hasn't been doing that.
Des Bryant, by the way, I think Des Bryant is still a top 5 receiver. I just believe that. We don't have evidence of it this year, and A.J. Green is certainly in the top 5, if not top 3. I think he's kind of leapfrogged some guys in a lot of people's estimation. But Des Bryant is a fantastic receiver. Adding a piece like that to a formula that's working doesn't always work right away. Over the long run, of course, it helps. But first game back, especially since Dak doesn't have the pressure so far to get Des the ball, he can spread it around. He develops rapport with Beasley, Williams, Witten, whoever. Suddenly you get a guy who's going to want the ball, who you need to target a little bit more, who may be more of a downfield threat. That doesn't always work game 1 to your advantage. And Dak, although he threw an interception last game, still has some regressing to the mean to do. I know the offense is designed in such a way that it's not a high risk for turnovers, for interceptions from Dak. And Dak is also, let's also credit him, he's executed the game plan. He's a smart quarterback. You could see it from the preseason. He's just good. But still, he's not going to go through the season with an 8-to-1 or 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's going to get turned over. He's going to turn the ball over sometimes. I think this is a likely week. At home, as I said, where they don't have a huge advantage against an elite defense. time for Dak to throw another interception or maybe two, which in a game like this will make the difference.
I would just feel a lot better if I believe the Dallas Cowboys could, if I believe the Dallas Cowboys would not be able to run on the Eagles. I suspect they will be able to.
They will.
I mean, and that's my issue. If you can run on the Philadelphia Eagles, you can take them. They obviously have upgraded defensively since the exodus of Chip Kelly. We understand that because we all understand that Chip Kelly didn't give a damn about defense. He gave a damn about his offense, and he threw his defense to the wolves because time of possession obviously was flagrantly bad for the Philadelphia Eagles last year in terms of the quickened pace, how fast his offense moved. He gave no regard whatsoever to the conditioning and the legs of the defense, and they suffered miserably because of it last year. This year with Jim Schwartz, they're obviously significantly different along with Doug Peterson. But you're going to have to be able, in order to beat the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to have to be able to move the football. You're going to have to be able to move the chains. You're going to have to keep their offense off the field. And all you have to me is Jordan Matthews. And by the way, he's suspect because of his knee. Do you realize that Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz, we talk about Rob Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett, okay? We think about the tight end spot in New England and various other places. Do you realize with the Philadelphia Eagles, Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck had great years in years past. They've got like a combined 10 receptions for like 240 yards on the season. They've done nothing this year.
But there's two ways.
Nothing. They haven't played every game, but they haven't been effective at all, Max.
There's two ways to look at that, and the way I see it in the NFL, especially over the small sample of the first couple games, is, as I said earlier, there will be regression to the mean. If you know you have talent on the team, over the course of the season, they're going to get theirs. When I see guys underperforming on the offense, to me it says in the NFL, this time of year especially, we're about to conclude the first half of the year, they're due. They should get going. But yes, the Eagles, without a terrific kind of running game against a ball control offense, I mean, one of the reasons Dallas's defense is maybe a little better than it should be is they're well rested. The Eagles are going to have to be big on third down. They're going to have to pick up those first downs. And then that comes down to, do you believe in Carson Wentz? Do you think he's the real deal? And so far this year, especially when I see him, how he looks when he's dropping back under pressure,
right?
I think he is.
Max, I'm looking at it right now. I just want to make sure I corrected myself. Yeah. Zach Ertz has 11 receptions. Brent Selleck has 5 receptions on the year. And Trey Burton has 9 receptions, playing a little tight end spot for them in the games that he's played. Essentially, what that comes down to is 25 receptions for about 290 yards.
Not a lot.
From the tight end spot for the season in 6 games. That's porous. And if you're the Eagles, you've got to have something other than Jordan Matthews. I'll give credit to the Dallas Cowboys for this much. You at least have to have more than Jordan Matthews in order to beat them.
And yet with that, they have 2 losses on the year. If they beat Dallas, they're in a tie for first place, and they just beat the Vikings in a...
Don't give me the Vikings. What do they have?
I can't wait for this game. Fire it up.
There was no Adrian Peterson. Stephon Diggs was coming off his injury.
There is no Adrian Peterson.
Come on now.
I'm trying to tell you that.
All right, lovelies, we got to move on. We're all in the good mood. It's Friday. We want you guys to weigh in on Twitter. Which quarterback will have the better game on Sunday night, Dak Prescott or Carson Wentz? We'll share those results a little later in the show. But speaking of marquee match, well, hello there. Good day to you. Welcome into First Take on a Friday, people. A feel-good Friday, for that matter.
What up?
Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman.
What's going on, baby?
How are you?
Hey, you.
How we doing?
What's up?
We good?
Let's go.
Let's get into it.
It's Friday.
Guess who's here?
It's Friday.
Actor Omar Epps.
My brother.
Joining us next. He's a huge Cowboys fan. This is going to be fun.
I just finished watching In Too Deep for the 10th time just the other day with him and my boy LL. Because LL, I don't know LL as well as I know him, but LL grew up 5 minutes away from me on Farmers Boulevard in Queens. Holla.